So, what was the craziest sign that God tried to give you to stop seeing that man?
So the man that I was like crazy in love with, and we haven't seen each other on and off for like 4 years. He came over. We had just made up from one of our arguments about the same shit. And before I fell asleep, I still felt so much like I didn't feel like anything was settled. And I just said, God, please show me who this man is. And like that, I fell asleep. And all of a sudden, I woke up. And there's a woman standing behind his head. And she says, are you going to tell her? And so I hear her voice and she sounds like kind of annoyed. Like, are you going to tell her? And he is laying there with his eyes open. And so I realized I'm like, oh, I'm dreaming. And so he sits up and leans against the headboard and he's like, it's like his mask fell off. Like he gets this look on his face and it's so fucking cold and so mean and just so arrogant. Like it's like he was that guy. It was just so messed. It wasn't him. It wasn't the face he usually has. It was like, it wasn't the energy he usually has. And so the lady, she said, tell her about Erica. And so I said, baby, what is she talking about? And I knew I was in love in this dream because I could not find nothing in my heart for this man but love. Like all I could say is like, baby, this, and oh God, please, like I'm really begging for this man's spirit. And so he looks at me like I'm nothing, like I'm fucking dirt, like I'm trash on the side of the road. And he's like, yeah, I get bad bitches. And so I'm like, baby, what are you talking about? Like what is going on? And so the lady disappears and he gets this look on his face and it's like even more sinister than the look he had before. It's like he was empty, but he was him in his true form. I can't explain it, but he rises up and his legs are crossed and I hop out of bed and I start backing down the hallway, keeping my eyes on him. And he's floating down the hallway and he's laughing and he's like, he got this look on his face like he wants to, what with me, like, but also like he wants to see me scared. I can't explain it. Like he was enjoying my fear. And so he's floating down the hall and I said, I'm trying to rebuke him. I'm like, I can't get the words out and it's frustrating me because I can't say I rebuke you. And so I'm like, God, please. And I say, God, please. And all of a sudden it's like, I just wasn't afraid anymore. And I said, who are you? And so he said, you know who I am. And he looked at me like, bitch, please, you know who I am. And I said, Leviathan. And so I look up the traits of Leviathan when I wake up. And it's like the spirit of confusion and chaos and pride, all of this stuff. And I'm like, wow, because I have never said a spirit's name, a demon's name, none of that. So I thought that was crazy that came to mind. And so he's floating down the hall still. And after I said Leviathan, he's like, he starts laughing even harder and he grabs my head and he starts humping my head. And this told me that he's draining my energy through sex. You know what I mean? Like this is how this man is draining me. And he's fully aware of what he's doing and he enjoys it. And I break away and I realize that I'm one of many women that he's using to drain energy from. And when I wake up in the real world, he wakes up and he's like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. It was like we woke up at the same time. But I'm waking up from this crazy ass dream and he's waking up just to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, boy, you're not gonna believe the fucking dream I just had. And I heard like a soft voice like, don't like it wasn't for him to know, it was just for me. And I still told him and he was like, oh, that's crazy. I was like, do you know somebody named Erica? And he was like, nope. And I have a family member named Erica. So I was like, maybe my mind was just like putting together all my thoughts. And, like I made an excuse, even though I asked God for a clear sign of who this man was before I fell asleep. I still was like, nah, that was too crazy. And 2 days later, we ended up breaking up anyway. Like, cause I just realized like, God wouldn't put that on my heart. God wouldn't give me no dream like that without some type of meaning behind it. And then the actions just wasn't changing. I was tired of arguing about the same stuff. And he said something that I had already felt. He was like, yeah, this is starting to be draining. Oh, so you're starting to feel drained too. Like you're draining me. It's cool when you're draining me, but you're starting to feel drained. And I was like, that's the key word for me. I was like, yeah, it's a wrap. That was confirmation for me in a small way. I was like, yeah, this is a wrap. This is not gonna work. And so I just realized that he was being deceitful the whole time. Like it all became so clear, all because I asked God to just show me who he was, and God did. And I thank you, God.
That's exactly why I played this first one, because it's talking about our ability to just ask for the sight, ask to be revealed to things and see what is actually going on. We have that power. Welcome forward to another video. I'm so glad that you clicked on this, because we are getting more educated on what's going on in this world and the things that we can do to be more aware of the real world. Let's get straight into it, y'all, because these stories is crazy.
So what was the craziest sign that God tried to give you to stop seeing?
What's up, y'all? I'm pretty sure this probably not even gonna get no views, but so I hated my niece. But I was like 18 at the time, and before I had even, like, you know, started growing my relationship with God even more, before I had started growing my relationship with God even more, I was dealing with this dude or whatever, and he had already like showed me signs or whatever, like, this is not the person that I want to be with, and like this is not who I know. I know God did not call me to be with this person. So God kept giving me like signs and stuff like that, but I wasn't listening. So I decided to take the hard road. And this particular day, we was in a room doing what grown people do, and it was dark. It was really dark in the room at the time, and I was on top. So while I was on top, he still don't know this to this day, but while I was on top, it's like his face changed. Like, you know how people say them, how you say it, shapeshifters or whatever? His whole face changed. It was like I seen a demon. And I was just like, I was like so shocked. Like, but I played it off so cool. Like, his whole face just disfigured. Like, I don't know what in the world. I was just like, oh no, this is not it. And then, like, I just got a sudden, like, heavy feeling over me, like, after I saw it. So after that, I ended up, like, you know, typical girl going back or whatever when I wasn't supposed to. And, the situation got worse. And, yeah, the anger that was in that man was just crazy. Like, it was just bad.
Yeah, you knew that was coming, though. You knew it was coming, girl.
If there's any video that I wish a large audience of women were to see, it'd be this one. Did you know that in ancient Egyptian times, when a man who held high ranking or high status was at all stumped as to what direction to go down, or what to do next in his strategy, would hire high priestesses, so a bunch of spiritually attuned women, to essentially have an orgy with, and that would be his way, that would give him more insight as to what direction to go down. Now, why is that? Why is it that would give him more insight as to what direction to go down in his strategy? I'll tell you why. It's because women have the innate ability to create vision, because we have more attunement to the 5D, the spiritual realm. And as we know, everything happens first in the spiritual realm before it happens in the physical realm, the 3D, right? Men are leaders of the 3D. Why do you think that men who are building on their career and doing all these things, who don't want to settle with girls who are 10s, like I'm talking they are 10 out of 10s, will not settle with them? Because they're harvesting feminine energy. They're harvesting that energy because they know it's powerful. It leverages them in the 3D realm. Why do you think men, time and time again, have been celebrated for being with multiple women? Yet women are not celebrated. Now, here's the thing. It makes sense why we're not celebrated to be with multiple men. Because unless you're being compensated for it, right? Because there's a value exchange happening. But if there's no value exchange, I'm not suggesting that you go into prostitution or to go into work. But what I am saying is that you have to understand that your hoo-ha has a lot of power. And it's unfortunate that in modern day society, they are drilling it in women's minds that we need to be sexually liberated in some way, by giving these no brain cell men access to our hoo-ha. What's incredibly unfortunate about modern day society is that this kind of overlapping spiritual wisdom that you can see in multiple religions and, you know, just spiritual teachings, it's not being taught to people. So most people are unconsciously doing this without even realizing, you know, oh, they're seeing that this pattern is working for them. And so obviously men are going to go down a pattern or go down, you know, a path that's going to work for them or bring them some sort of, you know, return on investment. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that's not being taught for men who are going down that path is if you're not compensating equally a value exchange of any sort, and you have no integrity in your movement, that is creating a karmic footprint, which will eventually, inevitably, slap you in the face. Some way or some shape, some form will do it. So that's the end of my TED Talk.
Just imagine him siphoning your energy. He also has to feed the spirits that he hangs around with in the spiritual realm. Okay, I'm gonna play y'all a video that I recorded explaining this exact situation, and then I'm gonna go into detail about what I talked about. How many eons is it gonna take for you to stop playing with women? What do all 4 of these men have in common? I'll wait. And it's not the fact that they're in jail. It's not about the details of their cases. It's not about the manipulation, the narcissism, the controlling tactics. It's not even about that they're all melanated men. When you pay attention to the women who came into these men's lives, the missions that these divine feminine women were sent in to do to these men, the sacrifices that they had to make with their involvement. And when these women made these decisions to be with these men, other people didn't understand why they were doing it. Why did they continue to be with this man, have kids with them? What was going through their minds and why they were dealing with them at the time? And I know some of y'all even be thinking, what went through your mother's head when she decided to mess with your father? See, one thing about divine feminine energy is that there's a grace for it all. But you're here, so you see the divine plan in all of it. And that's why I do not judge people when they are going through something or when something happens that doesn't necessarily mean a good thing. The will for the plan of the evolution of humanity required some of our high priestess to go in and take the mission of balancing out the gunk that the divine masculine has been leaving on the collective. These women with the backgrounds and the way that they were raised, the things that they went through before they met these men, or just that desire to want more for your life or desire a strong masculine man. Everybody knows that God's source gave us free will, and I'm a firm believer that you chose the life and the parents and the experiences that you wanted to have in order to heal. Before any of us was even born, there has been so much negative energy circulating on this planet. And like I said, some of us came down here on a mission. And the Divine Mother was like, okay, which one of y'all getting him? Who's getting this one? Who's picking this one? And who's picking this one? All women are daughters of the Divine Feminine. In order for you to take this mission, you're going to have to go through some things in order for you to attract these men. You have to get on the same level energetically with them. But that's the trick. The energies, the demons, and the spirits that they delve into will be able to see your light. But because you are beautiful, but you are also vibrating at the same level that they are in, and you have a regenerative ability and light inside of you, the forces that they deal with will automatically attract. The pain that you will go through is not for no reason. Even if you are not proud of the actions that you did to yourself, this is going to help heal the collective and your sisters on earth. On an energetic level, the healing that the Divine Feminine has gone through because of the sacrifices and the necessary experiences that they had to deal with and men that they had to deal with, it all happened for a reason. And we are all rising and raising our minds and healing for a reason. The testimonies of the demons that they had to face being with these men, the spiritual energies that they had to fight, the buildup of karma that needed to take place, and the healing of the masculines and in the healing of them individually as souls was not being taken place. Not until these women came into their lives. Put some respect on the Divine Mother right now. And imagine a Divine Feminine that has a very powerful regenerative ability that even though she's went through so much, she still is looking like, she don't look nothing like she's went through. And even just thinking about women who house their own demons or other spirits that they hang out with, you can tell, like, everybody has their own spirits that they hang out with, whether they know it or not. Everybody has friends on the other side. You can tell when somebody's hanging out with angels, and you can tell when somebody's messing with the other side. And this is why some relationships be fatal, because they tear each other down. It just ends really bad to where they're just biting at each other. That's not them biting at each other. That's the spirits and the energies that they're hanging around that's fighting to see who's gonna get the energy in this fight. Who's going to get the energy in this altercation? She got an incubus over here. He got a succubus. Okay, they said, okay, we going to come together because we like meshing with this energy, but we going to have to fight for this energy. We going to have to fight. For example, the relationship between Krishan and Blueface. That is the prime example of an incubus and a succubus fighting for energy. He initially went in and said, okay, this is a powerful woman and I can siphon her energy and she will enhance me and enhance my career and everything that I'm doing. That's why he involved her in so much. He started to get more attention, more traction on social media, but then also she was doing the same thing. Her squad that she hang out with in the ethers is like, no, we finna benefit off of this. Her whole experience on how she came out at the other end of it and how she is like focusing on her relationship with the divine and how he's in where he's at is a prime example of the slap in the face. Now, you remember I had talked to y'all about Diddy and Cassie's situation, and I said how Cassie was the divine feminine agent sent in there. Her sacrifice with all of those experience and trauma that she faced is now reaping to healing for the divine masculine energy and also for all the people who were victim to those energies that he was messing with. Some women, even though they have healing that they need to do as well, that connection and that coming together, they're really sent into men's lives to heal them. Power is power. And when source be like, okay, this is the amount of healing that you need to go through, but you're also a beautiful, divine, feminine energy, and you have that light inside of you, and you're strong enough to face this. And people are like, why did I attract this type of man in my life? And when they look back at the exes that they've had, or the ex-husbands, or the baby daddies that they have experienced, they be thinking like, why did I make that decision? Sometimes divine is really divining the whole conscious collective. And whether you subconsciously knew it or not, you were sent in to create that balance because you had the power enough. You had the healing enough to do that. Even if you weren't operating in a higher consciousness and you had spirits that you were hanging around with that you weren't supposed to, at the end, when you got out of that, you understood that it was necessary for your healing and that other person's healing, whether they decide to heal or not. And that's the reason why I want to present this video to you, because you need to stop giving your power away to these airheads. You're energetically feeding him, the spirits he hang out with. You're noticing as his life is doing this, your life is doing this, because he knows how to use that portal that you got and you don't. I hope this video gave you some insight on your feminine energy that you hold as a goddess, as a divine feminine. And men, if you are watching, learn as well that we own y'all. We own. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I hope to see you on another video.